Welcome back to Breakfast Central here on News Central Television. It's time for us to look at what the dailies are saying, the newspaper headlines. And joining us this morning is journalist Habib Aruna. A warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us this morning, as always.
Good morning. Good to have you as always. All right, we begin this morning. Our first paper is the Leadership newspaper, and on the front page of the Leadership newspaper, the big story, ahead of 2027, Atiku Tambuwal El-Rufai-led coalition infiltrates Niger Delta and enlists support of aggrieved stakeholders. Presidency dismisses coalition's antics, says Tinubu Shettima focusing on governance. National Assembly asked to reject bloggers regulation bill. Governor Yusuf resolves Kano graduate certificate crisis. Lawyers justify Imo CJ's appointment. Presidency disowns 2027 campaign billboards. Khan condemns Plateau killings, calls for unity. Nothing new about FBI DEA report, says presidency. And finally, quiet power play, how Canada forced Trump to drop tariffs. Can Nigeria have the same story? Anyway, back to
so many juicy stories
on the Leadership newspaper. But I'd like us to talk, I think, two main stories here. Can the Plateau killings, because we cannot act, we cannot employ the ostrich under the sand approach.
Pretend it's not happening.
Exactly, we can't pretend that's not happening. This morning we had a reverend talk about the killings, and he was sharing some personal, like being personally involved, and you could see the pain. We also had a report that showed that. But do you think that we're doing enough? He doesn't believe that the government is doing enough. He believes that the government has the manpower but lacks the will, that if they have the actual will to combat insecurity in northern Nigeria, that they will.
Do we have the manpower?
The technology, yes.
There's no manpower and having the will. They're not mutually exclusive. In other words, the government is incapable. Not that the government is incapable. You see, I read a piece on the Plateau crisis, and I was able to check my chairs. There will not be peace in that place for a long time because of the resources they have in that state. So we have people that are interested in mining, interested in getting. There are many resources that they are using overseas, that the Chinese particularly are using. So the government said at the weekend that the people were hell bent in wiping out some communities and took over their land. That's what we are seeing. And unfortunately, the government is helpless. The IG was making noise last week that they are deploring units, that the DIG operation will be involved. Yeah, we've not seen any concrete evidence that they are working.
I mean, people have criminal intentions.
Yes.
It's the responsibility of the government to deal with it.
That's what I'm saying. That's not mutually exclusive. The government is incapable. And this is not going to be long now.
Incapable in terms of manpower.
In Benue is herders, cattle herders that are dealing with natives. But this time around, we have people that are foreigners using the locals to foment trouble, to create crisis, so that they take over their resources. That's what I'm saying.
And when you say the government is helpless, do you mean that the government is unaware of
the government is aware, but I don't know if government is also culpable. So, but because the government is helpless in addressing these issues publicly, now begin to assume that are they also involved in this racket.
And the government you're speaking about, is the government at the state level or at the federal level?
Both. The government at the state level is helpless. It's not in charge. It doesn't command the military or the police. So we should call on the federal government to do something about what the government play to. Indigenous people, citizens are not safe. They cannot sleep well at night. So it's an issue we must raise because when people are dying, when journalism, they say if it bleeds, it leads.
It leads, yeah.
When people die, that's the story. No, so the government is not doing enough for these people.
And are we as a people also speaking as much as we should? Do you think that Plateau is getting as much publicity?
In some countries, the president by now should be back from France.
Absolutely.
Back from France. But the man is busy working visit to France. So, and people are dying. Even Benue. So this insecurity, this level of insecurity across the country is becoming unbearable.
The current administration believes that, yes, we haven't conquered insecurity. I don't know if we can please display the tweet we displayed earlier when the Minister of Information was talking about him being misunderstood and being misrepresented. So if our producers can please display the tweet we used on Wake Up Conversation, because They believe that we've made progress. They believe that, yes, we're not there, but that ever since, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, he's deployed resources, and that we've been able to make some form of progress in that regard. Do you think that we have made progress?
You cannot come out confidently in public space and tell us that we have made progress when there is nothing to show for it. When people are dying every day.
They say things were worse off. So we compare death toll. Okay, they used to kill 100. Now they're killing 40.
So
that's still a strategy.
So this is the tweet. Let's take a look at this tweet. Mohammed Idris said, I would like to make clear that no candidate dismissed Governor Zulum's security concerns. Then he goes back further down to explain what he said. He said, yes, security is indeed improving in many parts of the country, even if acts of violence have not been completely eradicated. Security agencies are working round the clock to ensure that the situation in some parts of Borno State and others are brought under control. He then talks about synergy, say the synergy we have seen in operations of security agencies, especially in the last 2 years, and the massive investment in hardware and other equipment indicates the seriousness of which the federal government attaches to the issue. He then talks about the Tinubu administration being committed to eradicating acts of banditry and terrorism across the country. So from this, he basically talks about, yes, he says, the success achieved by the security agencies in the last 18 months is an indication that indeed Nigeria is gradually returned to normalcy. Do you agree with that?
This man cannot tell the governor of Niger State, the governor of Borno, that is improving. The Sheikh of Borno told you what last week, that 4 local government is under control of bandits, of terrorists. 4. And that there's no civil governance in those 4 local government. In Nigeria, in Niger State, the same thing. In Plateau, the same thing. In Benue, the same thing. This man is a spokesperson of the federal government. And thank God he was able to emphasize what he said the previous day. That no, it's streamline it. You see, when people are dying, who feels it knows it. When people are dying, you cannot justify it concretely that government is working. People are still dying. You cannot present it to judge that people that are dying that Buhari, about people that are dying, that are not dying, or that are Tinubu. No, Nigeria want to see a government that is serious, that is committed, that is showing capacity to deal with this issue.
And that has empathy.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, and the second story I wanted us to tell, just to say again, we'll continue to highlight the killings on the plateau and the lives that are being lost on a daily, and calling on the government to do what they need to do.
Not plateau, all over the country.
All over the country, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because there's a report, last week in the social media, that when a general was abducted from a DG of NYSC, the general colleagues were now looking for funds to pay as a ransom to pay to kidnappers.
It just shows you how terrible things are.
That shows how we have degenerated. Generals, they are not looking for people to find a level to go and deal with those guys. They are looking for money, contributing money to release, to pay to.
And then the National Security Advisor.
So me and you, are we safe?
And then the
and just on
NSA,
Friday, the NSA went to the mosque to pray. He came out and found that one of his petrol vehicles had been stolen. My sister, the Minister of Information can do better.
Right. Okay, the second story that I wanted you to speak about, presidency disowns 2027 campaign billboards. I don't know if you've seen the campaign billboards of the president and the First Lady dancing.
Quite a lot of them.
They're
big.
So they have said, Abayo Onanuga rightly tweeted and said that, we're not the ones behind this.
And that's the best thing to do at this point in time. The president was elected for 4 years. It will be 2 years in May next month. So let the Fed president and the governors who are emperors in their states, they should focus on governance.
But are things always
governance? Nigerians are yearning for good governance. People want, the youth are not employed, my sister and my brother. The university system is not well funded. The health sector is in shambles. Let people who are responsible.
So who are these people that are so eager for 2027?
No.
They've not even seen the end of 2026.
There are many jobbers and sacrifices.
Yeah, but to the level of billboards, come on.
But thank God that the federal government is not coming out to say, president is coming out to say, no, put a stop to this. They're not stretches. Let's focus on governance. By next year, we cannot talk about politicking.
All right, let's go to another paper very quickly. I'd like us to go to the Daily Independent. At the front there, I just want us to go to the story straight up. Soyinka criticizes federal government for banning Idris Abdul Karim's protest song. I don't know if you heard this song.
Absolutely. you ban it on federal government platforms.
You're not planning to ban it on
And they say it's everywhere. You know, they just made it was carrying a star. I just know he's making money from it. Because I don't understand these people. Don't forget, and you see, the way government works is that there's a possibility that the federal government was not involved in that instruction.
I agree.
To NBC. The NBC said they should stop playing it.
Just like the
radio
NYSC case.
And TV. But you can be sure that they were just acting abstractly to satisfy their principle.
What do you say about
at the top?
what do you say about the communication, diverse communication briefs we get, especially with the current administration? Like you just mentioned now, the NBC speaks. Later on, you hear someone else come out and say, "Oh no, we didn't say that." We had the case that happened where the girls were saying, "Now your mama be that," and they were suspended. Later on, the state, government came out and said, "No, we did not suspend."
Nigeria did not vote for a king. We
Or an
voted for
emperor.
a president. Or an emperor.
That's a strong word there. That's a strong one.
A president that is supposed to play by the rules as laid by the constitution of this country. So you cannot just be sending orders that you should not play this, you should not play that. What it is Abu Karim is saying in his song is something that all of us have. It's a reflection of people's feelings. Absolutely. What you are feeling. So let them ventilate their anger. You cannot slap me and say I should not cry. It's not possible.
So
let them ventilate their anger by the song that made it more popular.
exactly. I mean, this is not the first time that they are banning.
After Daga,
Yes.
it's perhaps the best song of Abu Karim. He's making money from it. It's popular. He has even done many videos. It's in YouTube. It's on TikTok. I even watched one this morning before I came here. No, I'm telling you because the space is wide.
Yeah.
The space has been democratized by the social media. So no any censorship by anybody can stop what people want to see. People are saying it. Look at the
views.
So
the views now.
if they don't play it on,
Skyrocketed.
if they don't play it on Radio
I
Nigeria,
like this man to go ahead with your. No, go ahead. People will not. But okay, stop it from playing. Stop it from playing it. Let look at it. Let look at it.
Yes,
So
I'm sure there are people that went to look for the song
product
after they heard it was banned. Just to,
yes.
it was.
But you see, apart from the marketing side, the important
message.
What you must know is that no government should try to stop people from ventilating their anger. The space should not be blocked. But for Nigerians who want to express their views.
there's another story.
This democracy, it should be allowed.
Just to mention about this one, for those who aren't aware, this song was released on April 6th after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's son, Sheyi Tinubu, called his father the greatest president in the history of Nigeria, and the song was banned on the 9th of April. And, in the notice, it said that the song violates Section 3, subsection 1, 318, I think. I'm not quite sure which of them here, of the Nigerian Broadcasting Code, and should be classified as not to be broadcast.
Yeah.
Is the Nigerian constitution no more superior than the NBC code?
So it's how do we find that balance, right? Whilst I remember again, like you made reference when he released Jaga Jaga, which was a song strongly criticizing the government, strongly criticizing the country, which till today he still performs.
Absolutely. He even performed it before the president, former president.
And when the president came out to condemn and criticize.
I remember his response.
Yes. So this one now, by trying to block it from public space, they're making people to be willing to proceed. What does it even say?
I like this conversation we're having, and it's just natural we segue into another conversation on press freedoms and freedom of expression.
Absolutely.
Now, Serap is saying to the National Assembly and Akpabio and Abbas, the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the Senate President, to withdraw bill targeting bloggers. So they want to regulate the blogging space. I want blogger. I wish our producers can get us a video where the president said, I don't go on social media. They insult me a lot.
Insult my life.
So maybe this might be one of the reasons, or maybe another overzealous official that is just trying to show working. Because the Nigerian law, the constitution covers this, defamation, libel, and all of that. So why does the National Assembly like to run on the same spot and act like
They're having an exercise.
And in fact, in addition to that, so they're asking that they withdraw what they described as a repressive bill seeking to amend the Nigeria Data Protection Act. But there's also the Cybersecurity Act, and they will argue that Section 24 has been misinterpreted a number of times and used as an opportunity to silence dissenting voices. Is that a trend that we're going to see? You know, is that a pattern, a continuous pattern? Because there are many who are arguing that the administration is intolerant of dissenting voices.
Those are major features of a country that is dwelling under dictatorship. You know, those are major features. The first thing they do is to block the press. When they stop you, then when you express yourself, they block it. And don't forget that these tyrants, dictators, they use institutions of democracy. That's what this man did in Germany, Hitler.
Lawfare.
That's what this man is doing in the US. The National Assembly will come out and say, okay, look at the issue of Natasha. Or what you saw in River State. The eyes have it. You don't do that with a very serious caution matter. You know, so I think the last assembly did that, try to block social media to stop them. This one will also fail. You know,
Let's.
if you fail, if Twitter was blocked one time by the federal government, but people find a way around it. And are using
VPN.
No, it will not work this time around. You cannot stop Nigerians from.
I mean, if you say
views on issues that affect them.
So if it doesn't work, then it becomes for people like us that go to the gym,
The
it
National
becomes
Assembly
an exercise in fertility.
They've not organized a special session on the issue of security.
Yeah.
I've not said it.
I agree, but I mean,
they are busy tackling mundane issues.
And they are also banning pornographic sites, which is a good initiative.
Benga, thank you.
I have no comment on that.
I just have to
Thank you. Let's look at another story. Benga, I want to go through another paper quickly.
Okay, let's take a look at the Vanguard newspapers. Can we have it up now, please? Thank you. U.S. court, the headline says, U.S. court order on Tinubu, nothing new in FBI DEA records on drugs case, says the presidency. Says courts didn't indict President Tinubu. So we'll wait and see.
But what's his take on that?
Yes.
Well, don't forget that this issue came up during the campaign. It was not well addressed. It came out again when the case was at the Supreme Court. And when Atiku spent a lot of money to put the issue on the front burner. You know. Interestingly, it came out yesterday again. You know. But I like the way the director of the presidency, I love it.
Yeah, the way they reacted to
swift.
it. Yeah, very swift.
Smart guys. It's not new. We know we saw it before. Those things in the 30-something pages, something that is been public space.
A smart response.
But if you scratch the surface, it's about the issue of a decency in the presidency, the issue of integrity and credibility for our president. So we advise, I want the presidency to go further. Let Nigeria know what is going on. The presidency is not coming out enough information.
Release everything.
On the character of our president. Release everything. The president is in France now, and some of the praise singers went out yesterday that the president is not there to see doctor. President is not there. What is he doing in Paris?
So
Paris should not be an extension of Aso Rock.
It's a city
Paris
of
is
law.
in Europe. We have a Nigerian president. I do not expect the president of South Africa or even Ghana to be taking a leave to another country every 3 months, and people will not talk.
Right. Okay.
We are not subjects, we are citizens. We have a right to ask questions.
And you're completely correct. We certainly do have a right to ask questions. We do have a call from Anthony calling from Lagos. Good morning, Anthony. Thanks for calling. Please go ahead. Anthony, are you with us? All right. Unfortunately, we lost our call. If you can please call back before we wrap up the newspaper segment. But yes, we completely hear you in terms of the fact that citizens certainly have a right to ask questions about where their president is. And it just feels like there isn't enough information. If you have nothing to hide, release whatever needs to be released so that you can calm down the fears of citizens and put mockers to shame. You know,
and when there's no official communication and information, it leaves room
subject to multiple
speculations, and that's where all these bloggers begin to
That's why
put up all
I
sorts of
like the
stories.
way the immediate reaction of the presidency yesterday to this issue of court statement, court release yesterday. So it was, they came out on time with facts, and it doused the tension. People assumptions were summarily dealt with. So they should give us the information. And I'm not particularly happy with the way this issue of going to France has been dealt with. Let us know what the man is doing in France. Working visit every 3 months. Why only France? So we need to get on this.
But the former president, before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was always going to the UK.
Uncle Bayo Ononuga is saying another thing. The other one, the other minister, this other essay is another thing. So there's no any synergy and correct response on position of the president.
Joe mentioned something.
Yeah, but the former president was frequenting
in London. He preferred London.
And we know that one was sick. We know, and it got better the process.
But the current administration said...
At the time he was spent 6 months in London.
Yes.
He was sick. And everybody felt sick. But my only trouble is that when you fall sick, go abroad for treatment. It does not good for our image. Why can't you improve the
health
infrastructure in our health sector so you can treat it at home? That's my problem.
I mean,
I keep asking.
I don't think it's your problem. I think it's the Nigerian problem. Because Nigerians are asking that too. Okay.
As a Nigerian, other countries,
they believe that's where they will get the best attention.
But they can do those things here. It's not impossible.
They will say when is your turn, you can start.
I don't have the resources to travel abroad.
Do you remember the bill that never scaled passed in the Assembly? That no politician should be allowed to travel abroad for treatment.
That bill will never...
That bill will see the light of day.
Dead on arrival.
It don't work.
DOA. Okay, I want us to go to Rivers State, still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. I can see a story here saying PDP governors meet over Fubara as Tompolo assures of his return. So Tompolo turned 54 and he had a birthday celebration on Saturday at the Aziza Temple in Baramatu Kingdom. And during that celebration, a lot of things were said. One of them was he talked about people, how they had accused him of betraying the Ijaw nation in this feud between Nyesom Wike and Fubara, and he did say that, of course, Nyesom Wike is his friend, and he acknowledges that Ijaw people played a major role in Nyesom Wike's ascension, and his, his political influence. However, he will never betray the Ijaw people. He said a lot of things, but one of the things he did say is that there are talks going on between the warring factions, Nyesom Wike, Fubara, and that Fubara will return to the throne. My question to you is, do you believe that after the 6 months, or before the expiration of 6 months, Governor Siminalayi Fubara will return to the throne? But hold that thought before you respond. We have a caller. Good morning. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead with your comment.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, and thank you for the good job you are doing. As per this issue, you see, when issues get to a point, we will speak our dialect. I bet help me ask the president. The France, they go every time. Some African leaders are running away from France for exploiting Africa from ages before today. They are doing away with France. Even what is it called, Burkina Faso, they have severed their ties with France. Why is it that every day the promises the president makes to the ordinary man on the street, is that what is going to achieve there? What has he done? The people are hungry, people are dying, insecurity. Which of them have they addressed? He keeps going to assist the France is his bedroom. Abuja is his city room. Every now and then he goes to France. He has not done nothing for the people. All the voting, the promises during his campaign, I will do this, I will do that. The people are still where they were, impoverished more than ever. Everything people were managing their life for Christ's sake. Now you came, everything we agreed that you are not the cause. It has been there before you come, but the problem has tripled. What is the meaning of all this? Please, anybody that has no plan for the people should stay in his house. Don't come here and begin to take people for jokes. We are human beings, for Christ's sake. Don't feel because you have money, you are a president, you are more superior than anybody. We are all equal. And this is what is affecting the National Assembly. All of them, Tinubu is the Lord, Akpabio is the cardinal of the Senate. Whatever he says goes. when the president says anything to the House, oh, it is carry go. Is that what they are here for?
All right. Festus, thank you very much for calling and expressing your thoughts. Obviously, expressing the sentiment of a number of Nigerians who feel very aggrieved by the fact that they seem to not see things working as they had hoped for, but yet they're hearing that the president is traveling. But then let's come back to the conversation and ask you about your thoughts regarding Fubara returning to power. Mind you, there are women protesting right now in Rivers State that Fubara must go. Because they
must go.
Yes, we took that this morning, and they were talking about how there must be obedience to the rule of law in Rivers State.
This kind of jobless market women, they are sponsored. You know, my position is that the way a man of Fubara became governor is not the issue here. Today is the governor of the state. State of emergency was imposed by the president, which personally I think was not the best thing to do. The mandate given to, or instruction given to the sole administrator, the retired Navy officer, was not to go and destroy democratic structural institutions in Rivers State. No. Was about to go and restore order.
Keep the peace.
Law and order. That was the instruction. Because no man, he has no mandate, because we didn't vote for him. But what this man is doing is destroying democratic institutions and structures in Rivers State. What he's doing is implicitly acting on a written script of Wike and his co-travelers. Because if that gentleman is appointed to administrator of the local government, from where? From the moon? From the space? These are people tied to the agenda of some people.
Because how does he even know the personnel in the
absolutely.
States? Yeah.
The man is consummating an agenda of some people. You know, Rivers is too important, you know. Kano State is also very important. There are two areas in Kano. So 2 plus 2 may not be 4 in this instance. So I'm not particularly happy that this administrator is acting beyond his brief. He's not to go and restore law and order.
But how is he expected to do what needs to be done in terms of...
I hope the administrator...
Yes, because they would argue that you have to run, the state has to run, right? And the state cannot run without a budget.
The state has to run. There are permanent secretaries. There are local government administrators who are civil servants. You are now putting politicians to be... What you get what I'm making? Money destroying democratic institutions after the biddings of some people, particularly Wike. How what is doing in Rivers State? Show me benefit those are realities. They're explicit. You know, so I'm thinking that good conscience and good reasoning will prevail. And I also hope that the 6 months interregnum will not be extended.
Well, we hear reports that they've started pulling down his pictures from some public service centers, but I guess in the next few months will reveal what the next steps are. We've done 1 month already. There are a few more months to go. Habib Aruna, thank you for your time with us, and thank you for always answering when we call.
Thank you so much.